I'm Casey Paul Griffiths. I'm a professor of church history and doctrine here at Brigham Young University. I teach classes related to church history and related to families, and I've been engaged in service-based learning for several years.
So how long have you been using service learning in your classes?
I've been using service learning since probably about 2017, when I had lunch with the director of the Center for Student Service here at BYU.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the lunch, I was convinced that I needed to include some kind of component of service in my classes.
Excellent. So what has been the biggest strengths that you've noticed since incorporating it?
We do a lot of good in the community. So I teach large sections of BYU. I'm a teaching track professor. I have about 1,400 students a semester. A lot of them choose to do a service project for their enrichment papers. And they've done everything from, go to an old folks home to clean up a vacant lot. Because I teach religion classes, service and being service oriented is one of the outcomes we need, regardless of whether or not it's a church history class or a family class or an ancient scripture class. And so this is a great way for them to see that the gospel not only gets them to church on Sunday, but can make their communities and their lives better as they learn to serve.
Great. And have you noticed any challenges that you've had?
Challenges linked to service, not a lot. I mean,
great.
it's almost all been entirely positive. Now, it's sometimes a challenge for them to organize it. Like, it's one of those things that usually turns into a little bit more work because the average college student is trying to do as little work as possible. And I completely understand that. But at the same time, overwhelmingly positive. It makes them able to organize, bring friends together, and just look outside themselves, which can sometimes be hard to do.
Excellent. And what other benefits have you noticed in your students that have been using service learning?
I've noticed a lot more community engagement, a lot more engagement with their peers, because usually in order to meet the hours required for the project, they have to recruit 3 or 4 other people to help out. And those are all positive things. We're training these young people for service in the church, and organizing a service project as a college student is like doing an internship to one day be a Relief Society president or an Elders Quorum president, where a large part of what they're going to do is service.
Excellent. And any final thoughts for a faculty member who's thinking about using service learning in their classes?
I would say engage with the center. They have all kinds of service opportunities. JustServe.org is really, really great. But don't be afraid to, allow your students a little leeway to search out and find service projects, because they usually come back with really, really great things. And I've learned not to be too prescriptive, because a lot of times my students will have a lot better ideas and opportunities on their radar than I have on mine.